Paul Fairhurst and Tim Pakota, who are going to share with us all kinds of exciting information about Dell. So today we talk about digital transformation, and it has become a little buzzword in today's business environment, and it's a term that basically describes a trend where we're finally integrating digital technology into all areas of business, transforming how we operate, transforming how we interact with our customers, and how we deliver value to those customers. This has become a business imperative, and I'm certain that all of you in your own companies have started talking about digital transformation and how this is going to impact you. So as you, as IT leaders, you strive to prepare, promote, and propel digital transformation within your organizations. We've seen that globally, IT leaders are turning to hyper-converged infrastructure as a go-to solution. Using hyper-converged infrastructure solutions from vendors such as Dell, IT can deploy software-defined architecture that extends virtualization across compute, storage, and networking. So HCI solutions are extremely simple to install, manage, and run compared with traditional three-tier technologies. They're also very efficient, and I'm sure Dell will talk more about that. So the reduction in the cost of ownership is typically in the high double-digit percentages compared with the traditional models. At Harel Mallac Technologies, we're very, very pleased to be able to present today the Dell hyper-converged infrastructure solution, namely the Dell EMC VxRail. Dell is, as per the latest Gartner report, a leader in hyper-converged infrastructure solutions. And the Dell EMC VxRail appliances offers extreme configuration, flexibility, allowing you to choose performance, capacity, and graphic capabilities needed to meet your HCI workload requirements. Today, the Dell EMC VxRail appliances are built on the new PowerEdge 14th generation servers. They are configured to order platforms that deliver data services, resilience, quality of service, enabling faster, better, and simplified delivery of virtual desktops, business-critical applications, remote office infrastructure, and more. At Harel Mallac Technologies, we've been partners with Dell for a very long time, and we have a full team of experienced engineers, a lot of them being here today. And we also have already been implementing hyper-converged infrastructure from Dell for several customers in versions. So the team is available here to talk to you about our experiences and our references. Dell is here to share with you their knowledge and the latest news. Enough said from my point of view. Once again, welcome. We hope that you will enjoy the presentations and also the more casual element afterwards with the dinner. So I wish you a good afternoon and a very good evening. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for making time to attend this event today with Dell EMC and Harel Mallac Technologies. Thank you to the Harel Mallac Technology team for really putting this whole event together for us. My name is Roshan Nashi. For some of them, I think I've met almost every one of you in this room. But for those who don't know me, my name is Roshan Nashi. I'm the Dell EMC account manager for Sub-Saharan Africa, looking after a few regions within the SELEC team. I've been around now in Mauritius, so looking after Mauritius and these countries for 9 years, pretty much most of my time spent around the EMC portfolio, really around storage, backup, cloud, big data, high availability, disaster recovery in the data center. As most of you would know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, Dell acquired EMC. We didn't have the compute platform or the end client side of the business. So Dell saw an opportunity to acquire EMC and really complete the portfolio end to end. And that's really what I'm going to talk today around, realizing your transformation. To what was said earlier today, everything is really around digital transformation, IT transformation. So, just to go into the presentation a little bit, who Dell Technologies is as a company, before we really go into the meat of the technology stacks that we're offering from our portfolio and what we're going to present today as part of the agenda. Really just to understand the value proposition around who we as Dell and EMC are as a joint force. So, technology really is transforming the way we live and work in an ever-increasing pace. If you think about it, looking at today, the average human attention span is around 8 seconds. The average attention span of a goldfish is 12 seconds. So a few years back, before the introduction of smartphones, we used to have an attention span of about 10 seconds. So you can really see how this is changing the way we do things, the way we live. When we look at how we work today, 60% of us don't work at the office anymore. We're working from remote areas, we're working on smart devices, we're working on mobile devices, but really outside of working hours as well. It's not an 8-to-5 job anymore. We're really working all the time. You're looking at the rate of the way data is expanding. We're saying 90% of the data was really created in the last 2 years. So we can see exponential data growth. With that, obviously we're looking at threats and security. They're saying that threats are doubling almost every 15 months. So now if you look at that, these are all the different challenges that we experience as customers and how we as Dell Technologies are going to help address some of those challenges. So it's not all bad, right? It might sound like there's a lot of negativity. Really, all this change brings opportunities for each one of us. Within our organizations, how we transform and how we digitize how we do things. So we talk about transforming our industries and our organizations. If we don't transform our organizations to this more digital era, we're going to find ourselves obsolete. We can see that happen with a lot of different companies. You look at the most successful companies today are the ones that are software defined, the companies that have transformed, the people like Uber, Airbnb, there's a whole lot of them that have come up. It's really around IT transformation, digital transformation, becoming more software defined, more agile and more flexible about the way we do things. So just to talk about digital transformation, sorry, I've been covering that. So really around Dell Technologies, the company is made up of 7 different pillars. So, together, the coming together of Dell and EMC, they changed the name to Dell Technologies. Yeah, and if you look at the 7 pillars below the Dell Technologies, Dell, really the client space of our business, the endpoint. Dell EMC, really pretty much in the data center. Everything from compute right down to storage and archiving in the data center. Pivotal for platform as a service. RSA and SecureWorks is the security arm of the Dell EMC, of the Dell Technologies portfolio. VirtuStream is our cloud offering that we have for our customers. And I just want to touch a little bit on VirtuStream. So VirtuStream today is the only cloud solution that offers clients to put mission critical data in the cloud with a predefined SLA. Nobody out there can do it, not Google, not Amazon, nobody can do that. Everything comes with T's and C's, and really it's not mission critical type data, and it's on best effort basis. We actually can give you an SLA on what you want to achieve on mission critical information. And then VMware. VMware was part of EMC. We owned VMware. That came across. That's really the 7th pillar on the Dell Technologies stack. So everybody might ask, okay, so what makes you different, right? What makes Dell EMC different or Dell Technologies different from our competitors? Really, there's 3 things. It's around innovation. Michael Dell is committed to spend $12.7 billion in R&D in the next 3 years. $12.7 billion is a hell of a lot of money. It's probably more than some of our competitors do in revenue in a year. You want to spend this in R&D. $4.5 billion, that's what we're going to spend every year going forward. And if you look at it from a patent perspective, over 22,000 patents. Our value proposition is really the powerful supply chain that we have, the partner ecosystem that we have. If you look at the likes of Harel Mallac and everybody else, we've got a really powerful ecosystem. And our financial structure, we are a privately owned company. We can do and spend money the way we feel necessary to keep our technology above the competition, ahead of the game, and as IT and the organization's change. And our leadership. This is really, we number one in almost everything, all in one place, and we are purpose-driven. So just to go into a little bit more detail around all this, applications are driving business value. A few years ago, you would buy infrastructure based on an application. Today, our applications are driving the IT infrastructure that goes below that. Everything is moving to the cloud. So we're looking at people having the ability to work from anywhere, anyhow. That can only happen if the information is sitting outside the data center in some type of cloud infrastructure. We look at IT infrastructure. All clouds have to run on something. And that something is the infrastructure, the servers, the networks, the storage. And we say to our customers that from an infrastructure perspective, really we one-stop go-to shop for really everything that's best of breed in the data center. Our users on top of that, everything that we do today is based on our users. So bring your own devices, being able to be agile, flexible, and mobile in the way that we do things. And then the most important thing is security, right? So really, everything around our business is around the application, but it's around how we secure what we do today. So to put it into a little bit of perspective, I just want to explain this slide slightly. I don't think you guys can really see that. But really to put everything into perspective, we talk about digital transformation around the application and the cloud layer. We talk about workforce transformation. How do we get our end users to be more agile the way they work, bring your own devices? We also find that from a workforce transformation perspective, the endpoint is so important. It decides on the productivity of our end users and how it delivers business value to the organization. We talk about IT transformation from an infrastructure perspective, and then security transformation really across the stack. Just want to pull this out as well. So how does the 7 different companies that we have under the Dell Technologies Group fit together? From an end user perspective or from a user perspective, that's where Dell fits in. From an application perspective, it's around Pivotal. Cloud solutions, Virtual Stream, VMware, from an infrastructure perspective, SecureWorks and RSA from a security perspective, and from an infrastructure perspective, that's where the EMC fits in, and that's really what we're going to hear today a lot about. So just below all that, we couple that with services from the Dell Technologies services stack, and from a consumption base, this is something that we don't yet offer in Mauritius. It's something that we're hoping that at some stage we'll be able to offer our customers. We have this utility-based, consumption-based model where you can pay as you use. So, for us to do that, we have to have some type of financial capability in the country. We don't have that today, but we're working towards that. And really, this really completes who Dell Technologies is as a company. So, I'm not going to, like I said, this is just a quick overview of who Dell Technologies is. We're going to go into a lot of presentations, very high level, just what the portfolio looks like. We'd like for each of you to sit with us, do some consultancy with you, understand where you want to go, the journey that you want to follow over the next few years, and put solutions and technology that's going to help you get there and become more relevant in the industry. So thank you very much. That's me from an overview perspective. Sharif, please. I'm going to hand over to Sharif.
The team from what we refer to as the Dell legacy portfolio, which is really around your compute. What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is really around what we can do to assist you guys from a Power Edge perspective, which is our server portfolio, in this whole journey that you are on from a digital transformation perspective. We know that our CIOs, our execs, are really tasked with this whole journey of the transformation into the digital era. Typically what they are sitting with is, they've been tasked to drive down costs and yet still maintain agility and security within the organization or in the business. On top of that, they're also being asked to find new innovative ways to do business. Profitability is always a problem with our CIOs. They need to generate new revenue. So these are the struggles that we find that our CIOs are typically grappling with on a day-to-day basis. What we've done is we've looked at this and we've said to ourselves, how can we actually assist our customers to actually help them on this journey through this whole digital transformation. And what we've said is we know, and you've seen the slide now just from Roshan's presentation, but just to unpack it and to add on to it, we know that applications is driving current and future value within our data center. It's going to continue to do that, and it's not going to go away. Being able to offer a cloud offering is also something that businesses is looking at today. What you need to do is to start on this journey is to really look at your infrastructure within your data center. Having a modern IT infrastructure is going to be the building block on your journey on this digital transformation. Coupled to that is also world-class services. Services is actually going to make this whole journey a reality for you. Customers are also looking at more cost-effective models in terms of consumption for the technological solutions that they want to implement within their organizations. Just a little sort of history of where we are in terms of IT transformation and digital transformation. From the early 2000s, applications were really designed around optimizing IT for the business. And we still find ourselves within those type of workloads and tasks that we need to do within the organization. From around about 2014, 2015 onwards, this is when digital transformation really started taking off. Cloud started being a buzzword in the industry, and everybody wanted to take advantage of what cloud can offer. This is also what we refer to as digital transformation. Where we find ourselves now is that we're in a unique situation where you have multiple workloads within your data center or in your business. And this infrastructure that you're actually putting into your data center need to be able to manage both of these sort of workloads. So that brings us to the Power Edge server. The server is really an essential part inside your modern IT infrastructure. If you have a server that can manage traditional and emerging workloads, then you have a really powerful server that you have inside your infrastructure. Coupled to this, you also need to be able to do this at high performance and be agile enough inside the data center to dynamically move as the business changes or the requirements inside the business changes. Security is a problem. It needs to be able to maintain security, and we also need to make sure that there's a flexible or cost-effective strategy placed inside the organization. This brings us to the Power Edge server, and we believe that what we've done on the 14th generation server, we implemented these concepts on the design of the server to actually help our customers on this journey through this digital transformation. So, how do you build a modern IT infrastructure? Well, we really look at three concepts. First of all, you need to be able to adapt and scale in your infrastructure as dynamic business needs requires. Secondly, we need to automate or introduce a lot more automation into our data centers. Thirdly, it's really around protecting your investments and making sure that through the entire life cycle of your investment that the solution is being protected and the business is also being protected. So how have we taken these three concepts around a modern IT infrastructure and actually implemented into the Power Edge service, specifically around 14th generation servers? What we've done is we've looked at something called the scalable business architecture, which is what these servers actually been designed around. And this really means that we have a broad portfolio where our server platform can actually meet multiple workload requirements inside your organization. I'll unpack it a little bit later as we unpack these concepts. From an automation perspective, we actually introduced something called intelligent automation to automate all your mundane routine tasks inside your data center, so that it frees up the your skilled resources to do other things. From a security perspective, we fortify the business operations and to drive profitability as well. So if we unpack the first concept, which really speaks about scalable business architecture, the best way to explain this is probably to use an example. We have a vast server platform out there. If you look at the R740XD, for example, the R740XD is able to actually take 6 times more NVMe drives. You can use this in a multitude of workloads. For example, maybe you're looking at real-time analytics. With this, you can the ability to add 6 times more NVMe drives inside the server. You are able to decrease or increase throughput and decrease latency inside the server. Maybe you want to use the same server for something completely different, something like software-defined storage, VDI implementation, for example. That same server, if configured correctly, you can get up to 33% more VDI instances on that solution. This means ultimately that you can have up to 192 VDI users on this particular platform. So you can see how dynamically the server is able to actually move from one type of a workload to another workload without having to do a lot of configuration changes to the actual server. From an automation perspective, what we're really talking about is the maintenance of the server and also, what happens when something goes wrong with the server. Typically what happens if a component fails inside your server platform today, you typically get an alert. You will pick up the phone, you will phone the support helpline, an engineer gets dispatched, and then your server hopefully gets fixed. What we've done now is we've designed the server to take advantage of something called support assist. The server is now capable of actually predictively monitoring the server, the components within the server, and then realize that there's probably an issue with this component or there's a problem with the server. It will automatically log a call for you with our support helpline. An engineer will be dispatched with the correct part to come and fix the server. What we found what this actually does is it reduces the resolution of that issue by 90%. We've actually had customers that told us that they didn't know that there was something or there was an issue inside the data center until the engineer actually walked up to the door with the parts in hand to say that they had to come and fix the problem. So it is really something that customers are really liking about the new 14th generation servers. From a maintenance perspective, updating your firmwares or just managing your server, what we've done is we've looked at the management from a different perspective. What you find is that in most or your larger data centers, you probably have different platforms in that data center. You also have different operating systems. We've taken management, what we call out of band, It's not dependent on the platform or the operating system. Okay, we've introduced something called agent-free management on the platform, and this is what we've done. The old for the people that's worked with Dell before and used our management platform called Open Manage. We've moved now on from something called Open Manage Essential, which was our 13th generation servers, and made it Open Manage Enterprise. We've taken all the features that was in Open Manage Essentials and we've enhanced it. What we've done is we've actually introduced what I refer to as agent-free management, taking it out of pen. The management is no longer dependent on an operating system to be able to run, to be able to get any alerts from the server or to manage that server. The other thing as well is from a deployment perspective. There's quite a lot of tasks and steps that you need to do when you're just deploying a simple server. With something called Zero Touch, we've been able to deploy our servers 99% faster than in the old traditional way. From security perspective, what we've actually done is, if you have a modern sort of IT infrastructure that's quick, that has a deep layer of defense, quickly able to detect a breach should it happen, and then to bring back that platform to a workable solution, quickly, then you have something what we refer to as a cyber resilient architecture. And the PowerEdge server has actually been built around this. Okay. The other thing that you also may not realize is that when you are, your server is being touched by many hands through manufacturing, right to the deployment of the server, when you actually take delivery of the server, and also, when throughout the life cycle of that server until you've actually taken it offline. It's been touched by many hands. And throughout that life cycle, something that you're at risk of being breached. So what we have done is Dell is actually the trusted partner within the entire ecosystem. And we make sure that things like, for example, just your firmware, your BIOS upgrades, it's digitally signed so that the server knows that if this is not an authorized firmware package or BIOS package, it will not actually install it on the server, thus preventing any breach from happening. The other thing that also we've done is we've looked at secure protocols to make sure that you use authentication to make sure that these protocols get installed from an authorized resource. So I'm not going to go into every little server that we've got inside Dell and what processor and memory and hard drive. It's just huge and we don't have the time today. What I want to say is that we have a portfolio that could meet probably all your needs with inside your organization. For example, we've got tower servers, we've got rack servers. For your data center, we've got modular servers, which typically talks to your Play type solutions such as Vertex and FX2. And then we've got something called extreme scale infrastructure, which is something that one of my colleagues touched on earlier. That's really your engineered solutions. Your things like and refers to HCI, like Nutanix and VxRail, which is built on the Dell platform as well. On top of that, we can lay the management platform called Open Manage, which actually manages the entire stack. You don't have to have different management GUIs or management software for any of these sort of logs. From an intelligent automation perspective, what we've done is this is really referring to Open Manage and what the enhancements that we've done around Open Manage. Like I said earlier, it used to be called Open Manage Essentials with Lifecycle Controller. It's now called Open Manage Enterprise. All the features that you may have been used to from the old Open Manage Essentials, it is there, it's just been enhanced. We've enhanced the GUI, and we've also enhanced it to give you a lot more automation within the management program. That's what the GUI looks like. But if you really want to see it, we've got delldemos.com. You can actually go and play it with the Open Manage package if you like. And we can assist you with that if you need. So, from an automation perspective, there's really two things that makes it possible. The first thing is actually the management controller, which we refer to as the iDRAC. Alright? It's agent-free. There's no specific agent that you need to load on this thing. It's completely agent-free, and it's also out of band. Coupled with Open Manage, this is where all your automation and all the magic is going to happen. And as you can see, Open Manage is standard-based from a management solution perspective. What does iDRAC actually mean? Well, iDRAC stands for Integrated Dell EMC Remote Access Controller. That's really what it is. This is the brains behind, the maintenance of your actual server. It has its own embedded processor, so there's no resources being pulled from your processors or the memory on the actual server. It has also got its own network card with an IP address that you can actually access out of band, no need for an operating system, and actually access the box where you have abilities like rebooting the machine and actually gaining access to the BIOS remotely from a phone, a tablet, or a desktop anywhere in the world. From an Open Manage perspective, what we've done is we've automated the server lifecycle management on tasks like deployment, updates, just monitoring, and also from a maintenance perspective. What we've also done is we have the ability to integrate with third-party management GUIs that's out there, or management platforms that's out there. From a deployment perspective, what we've done is we've tried to save you time when you are deploying one or maybe multiple servers. If you look at it from this perspective, we've introduced something called policy-driven automated process. So you can deploy servers by just creating a policy and a configuration around or a script around, and then just applying it to multiple servers at once. Alright? The other thing that we've also done is what this actually leads to is, you can have servers within production within 10 minutes, multiple servers at the same time. You also have the ability to build and test the server before actually putting it into production. And the last one is really around creating a script, associating it to a policy. And if you have something like 10,000 machines that you need to deploy at one time, you can just press a button and the same configuration would actually be pushed out to multiple servers at the same time. So it really reduces the time in deploying the machine, to the point that 96% of steps that's normally used to deploy a machine or configure a server is actually being reduced. There you can see as well that you only need minimum 2 clicks to actually deploy a server. This saves you from 98 clicks in sort of a normal situation. From an update perspective, this is really around firmware, BIOS, and so forth. What we've done is to automate and help you around this is to actually be able to schedule updates. The server can be set up in such a way, or your server farm can be set up in such a way that we automatically download the latest and greatest authorized updates, and you can schedule this recurrence to happen at whatever time you want to. Secondly, you can also schedule it to then deploy automatically without any interference or requirement from a user. You can do this repository that you're downloading. It can be either local, or it can be on the server, or you can have a central repository where you download the updates for your entire server platform in your data center, and you just remotely deploy it to all of the servers. And like I said, you can also, in some of the updates, you may need to reboot your server. Like for example, a BIOS update that requires a reboot. We can't always reboot our servers at any time of the day, but you probably want to schedule a reboot. What we can do now is you can schedule the reboot to happen at whatever time you want to. You do not need to be in front of the machine, and the reboot will automatically happen. The update will be applied, but it will not be effective until the reboot actually takes. It won't take effect until the reboot actually happens. Yeah, and the other thing that we can also do is we can actually go to a certain extent to third-party upgrades as well. A nice feature that we also actually introduced is rollback. We've also introduced it as an automated feature. Rollback is where you've applied a BIOS, where you've actually applied a firmware. When the server reboots and you're now using the new firmware or the new BIOS, you don't like what it's actually doing, you can roll back to the last known good feature automatically. You can schedule that as well, and it will actually implement the previous version. From just monitoring perspective, what we've actually done is we've reduced the setup time to lower upfront cost by monitoring power edge servers with the life cycle control. And how we've actually done this, no additional installations to certify certain management utilities and programs for your servers. If you do have an operating system that requires management, the iDRAC can actually be available for basic monitoring. Okay, you can actually supersede this by using the iDRAC to actually do basic monitoring. On top of that, what we've now introduced is monitoring for SSDs, because SSDs is now really becoming the flavor of the day. The spindles are becoming less and less used, so we need to introduce more and more monitoring on SSDs, and we've enhanced that as well. And then from a maintenance perspective, we can also now do something what we call a backup of your actual configuration of the actual server. The server is also then able to monitor this, and if the configuration differs over time, the server can be set up in such a way that it actually automatically reverts the configuration back to its original form. Right, so we've introduced this as well with OpenManage. We've got something where in the past, if you replaced a server, a motherboard for example, the tag number then becomes a problem. You need to reload the OpenManage now automatically, because we are able to save the configuration of the server. When this motherboard gets replaced, it will automatically put the old tag number onto the new motherboard, so the server always stays up to date and to its original form. And then, like I said, we've got a support assist coupled with Pro Support Plus. I know we don't have Pro Support in this country, that actually takes advantage of actually phoning and monitoring your components within inside the server and creating that call, that support call for you automatically without any user intervention. So the OpenManage suite really consists of a number of components. It consists of a console, which we refer to as Open Essentials, which is now called Enterprise. Coupled with that is also OpenManage Power Center. Power Center is really around managing your power consumption within your infrastructure. We've enhanced those features as well and added some more features in there. Integrations into Microsoft System Center, VMware, and BMC BladeLogic software. What this means is you can actually use these management platforms to actually manage and integrate into them to manage your environment as well. There's your connections like CA, HPE, IBM, Tivoli. These are all third-party sort of management platforms that we can integrate as well. We also have a Blade portfolio that I touched on earlier. On the Blade portfolio, we don't have an iDRAC controller like we have in our rack servers or our tower servers. We have something called a CMC, which is basically a chassis management controller. OpenManage is able to connect to the chassis management controller, which does similar things to what the iDRAC controller do, and you can actually use the same GUI to manage your Blade or your modular platforms that's in your data center as well. There's some other tools and utilities that you get with it, like the OpenManage Mobile, which is quite cool. I'll touch on that a little bit later. There's a slide on that. Repository manager is really a repository that can be either local or centrally, where you put all the driver updates or firmware updates or buyer updates, and then remotely deploy that to your servers. And then Open Manager Server Administrator is actually the local agent that you can install on the server, and you can actually manage the server locally as well. And then the iDRAC service module is really referring to the iDRAC physical card that actually goes into the server. This module that they're talking about is an optional add-on into the server. So, you know, from a Dell perspective, we always recommend that the customer actually add these cards in the server because it gives you all these features. Support services, I've talked about it. It's Support Assist coupled with Pro Support Plus, which at this stage is actually not applicable to this country, but when it does come, and I've been told that it's going to come, it's going to be something that's going to change the game within Mauritius, I'm sure. This is what the console looks like. You know, it's very intuitive. By just looking at the console, you get a lot of information. It's very easy to navigate. Just by looking at different colors and you know, you can already see what the alerts is within inside the server. You can then go and drill down inside the console to actually go and find out what's actually happening. Nice thing what the console also does is it gives you information about third-party machines, you know, basic information like operating system, IP addresses, the name that the server's got, etc. This is the Open Manage Mobile. You also have a console now that you can actually display on your phone. Something that I can talk about is called Quick Sync. Quick Sync was actually introduced in the 13th generation servers, whereby you could actually use your phone. There's a barcode on each server, and you can scan this into your phone. It can be an Android phone, it can be an Apple phone, so iOS, or what's it, iOS now at the moment, or something like that. And this will actually bring the entire configuration of the server onto your phone. For example, how to remove a component. This helps a lot of engineers, because not all servers are the same, to actually, you know, help and also your support staff on replacing parts. We've introduced Sync 2 now, Quick Sync 2, which is actually now for your that can be coupled with the GUI that goes onto your phone, and you know, you can use this on the phone as well. So just some benefits that we're getting now from Open Manage and, you know, the whole automation that we've enhanced. From a deployment perspective, 99% less time spent on deployment if you're using Open Manage and the iDRAC. 55% faster configuration of network settings. So what you can see here is that even from a network point of view, in our networking platform, you can use Open Manage to actually configure your switches and you know, maintain the switches as well. 230 hands-on processes eliminated when you're deploying something. Over 10,000 or rather 10,000 servers can be deployed within 15 minutes. 6 times faster parts replacement by utilizing the iDRAC and the lifecycle controller. You can use the features. And maintain configuration profiles with greater accuracy. We've increased this to 91%. So your servers are not changing configuration over time as people are touching the server. From a security perspective, what we've done is we've introduced Protect, Detect, Recover, and Retire. So from a Protect perspective, we have a deep layer of defense built into the server. We are quickly able to identify when a breach happens and then be able to recover that, rapidly recover the platform back to a trusted platform. When you retire the machine, quite often we need to delete what is actually inside the machine. We found that in some cases it can actually take, you know, what we call a secure erase. It can take hours to do a secure erase. And we've done enhancements around this to actually help you to secure your server. So from a Protect perspective, what we've done is, like I've mentioned earlier, there's an entire chain of people that are actually touching your server through from the time that you actually build the machine in the factory right to the end of the life, throughout the life cycle to the end of the machine's production, whatever you call it. We have a chain of trusted, we've created in the silicon chip itself on site, in the components of the server. No firmware will be upgraded if it's not authenticated by the structure chain, by Dell itself. If the firmware is not authenticated, the server will not actually implement the update. And that sits in the silicon chip of the server itself. We are able to, obviously monitor the firmware and the BIOS on the machines. If the BIOS does go corrupt, in the past, if a BIOS on the motherboard goes corrupt, you can take the motherboard straight away, you need to buy a new motherboard. What we are able to do now is, if the BIOS goes corrupt, we can actually roll back the BIOS to a previous version or install another version of the latest BIOS that's there. There we go. We covered fix and that refers to what I was saying about the BIOS. From a erase perspective, like I said, we've now have the ability to secure erase our drives, including SSDs and NVMe type disks, in a matter of minutes rather than hours. Previously, it used to take hours. And that's really from a power edge perspective. Thank you for your time. What I'd like to say is that what we've noticed in Mauritius is that this is really a booming market for Dell. You guys are growing very rapidly. We are very, very pleased with what's happening, and our solutions is being implemented on a daily basis within Dell. If you guys need any assistance, myself, like Rosh, Temba, and also Paul, we are available to assist you guys with any solutions that you have. We are the consultants. Please call on us, and we will be more than happy to assist you guys. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great evening.
Really around the mid-range storage portfolio. So let's talk about some of the trends going on in today's industry in terms of external storage is still a growing market, right? However, there is still spend going on in external storage. We do see the shift moving out of external storage towards server-based architectures, software-defined storage along with that, and hyper-converged obviously. And as we saw earlier on, businesses are looking for ways to transform IT. To take that spend from traditional IT applications and invest it into cloud-native apps or next-generation applications. And they want to leverage these technology enablers that we're speaking about, software-defined storage, all-flash, and hyper-converged systems. But before we get into the meat of this, I just want to talk briefly around our storage royalty program, where this is an offering that we have across our portfolio in terms of our storage portfolio. And the first one is a 3-year money-back guarantee, right? So that says that as a customer, if you aren't happy with technology that we propose, option 1, you have the option to remediate as Dell EMC. However, if you're not happy, you will get your money back pro rata. The next one is a 4-to-1 efficiency guarantee. So this says, based on all-flash technology, data reduction efficiencies, and EMC's best practices, you are guaranteed to get a 4-to-1 efficiency. You never worry migrations. You never have to buy a piece of software that you're going to use once off, and then post-migration is going to go sit on the shelf. We will assist with your upgrade, with your migration process, whether it be from one platform to the next. When we release a new generation platform, you're not stuck. You can migrate from that platform onto the next one. Hardware investment protection. That's about being able to, if you've invested in the technology today, and you have or want to change that direction that you've gone in. So if you've invested in, I'll use an example, a 3-tier architecture, and you want to move to our Converge solution, what we will do as Dell EMC is we will buy back that kit And that investment that you invested in that previous one, we will leverage that money and put it towards your next investment. Our mid-range platforms come with all-inclusive software. So all these features and capabilities that you're going to see just now shortly from a storage perspective, all software is inclusive. Then the last one, which speaks also to our mid-range platform, is our built-in VirtuStream cloud storage. Right? So Ross spoke earlier about VirtuStream Enterprise, enterprise-based applications in the cloud with SLA. This is a cloud storage-based platform. Right? Now what this gives you the capability, and we'll see a bit later on, is to nearly have an integrated hardware strategy from the storage platform. We give you 1 year's free subscription to our VirtuStream cloud offering to 20% of your raw storage purchase. Right. So that covers our future-proof loyalty program, and this is just in terms of, as Dell EMC, our confidence and our backing back to our customers. So if we're looking about what we're talking about today, right, is that data is today's most valuable asset, right? Everyone here, their data is their proprietary sort of information. So that differentiates one person from the next. And if we just look at what goes on to it in terms of hacks, ransomware, people hijacking that information and putting ransoms on it to say, if you want your data back, you've got to give me X. And this really speaks towards the digital transformation that we're going on, this journey in terms of where are we on this. And if you look at it, IDC predicts by 2021, 50% of the world's GDP will come from digitization. Our Ubers, our Facebooks, our Airbnbs, some sort of digitization in the industry. 48 to 45% of these respondents didn't know where they were going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, and some of them feared they were actually going to be obsolete in their industry. And if you think about it, Blockbuster, when last did you go to the DVD store, right? However, 92% of these respondents realized that digital transformation is critical to their business and being relevant in today's industry. What we've noticed is that IT transformation, having a modern infrastructure, enables this digital transformation. And in a survey that was done by ESG, who's an external research group, they found that 5% of today's industries across the spectrum thought that they had already evolved. Right? 12% of them were still sort of in today's legacy aspect world. However, the exciting thing is that around 83% of these people were embarking on this journey. And from these people that have really transformed, what we've seen is that the key one is that they were 7 times more likely to be viewed as a competitive differentiator. And if you think about today, in the general world of things, most people would rather catch an Uber than a taxi. And that's what digitization does. So if we think about this digital transformation, this IT transformation, you sit there and you ask yourself, well, where do I start? We believe the first sort of component within this is to modernize your infrastructure, right? We're there about 14th generation and what that brings to the table. And whether it be best of breed in terms of best of breed components from Dell EMC, whether it's delivered in a converged stack, and it's protected everywhere, right? So that's another thing we've got to remember is that whether it's in the cloud or on-prem, it needs to be protected. And if you can leverage a future-proof loyalty program, right, that gives you the agility to have the peace of mind that if I invest today, I'll protect it tomorrow. The next step within this is today, once again, the automation process. The capability to take away the day-to-day plumbing that we do and automate it. And then what that does is it gives us the capability to start running cloud-like models. Whether it be public, private, hybrid, whatever the case, we've got that flexibility within that. And the key component within this whole journey is the transformation. So if we don't have the support from senior executives as IT, the transformation is not going to happen. We've got to get to that synergy where business and IT are aligned as the strategy, right? And we've also got to change the way we do things, from the processes to the people. So let's focus now on the key point being to modernize. What is this modernize? So we believe there's 5 or 6 pillars within this modernized platform. First, place to start is an all-flash strategy, right? 15K just hasn't got any faster since I don't know. The next one is the ability to start small and scale out. Software defined. That's where all the intelligence comes from, right? It's the software, it's all from the iJack, the open managed systems. If we peel away all that software, all we've got is a piece of tin. Cloud enabled, right? Would like something that is going to leverage that cloud strategy that you want to take as a business and sort of integrate that within that. And the new piece and exciting factor of business is AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, right? Imagine your storage platform could be ready when you get to work. You don't have to fine-tune it, you don't have to tinker it. It's got the capability to learn. You know my busy times, you know my peak times, you know my quiet times, right? That's what machine learning brings to the table. As I mentioned before, you need best-of-breed technology, whether it's individual components such as servers, storage, networking, data protection, or all of that delivered in a converged solution or a hyper-converged solution. I said this before, we've got to ensure that our data is protected no matter where it resides. We've got to leverage a future-proof storage loyalty program. We've got to have services and support within that and a flexible consumption model, which hopefully will be coming soon. Moving on, something that we realized is that last year alone, 60% of primary data was due to copy data. If we stop and think about that for a while, what happens that we typically see is that we'll have a copy for production, we'll have the same copy of data for analytics, we'll have the same copy of data for test and dev. What we land up is a situation where we consume quite a bit of capacity compared to our original production copy. Now, if you could take those copies and be more efficient with them and leverage things such as thin provisioning and throw in some more software within that and have some sort of integration where the storage admin and the DB or the application owners can work side by side. And how we do that is we leverage something called AppSync. Now, what AppSync gives us is it gives the application owners the capability to create their own copies on demand, right? So most instances, someone wants a copy, they're going to go to the storage admin, ask for a copy, see they're going to give you a full clone, or you're going to do a backup of that, then restore it somewhere else. We lose time. Imagine you could schedule it seamlessly automation, right? Where the application owner can drive their application and their storage requirements and have multiple copies, instant copies. And the great thing about that is to actually expire them and recover your storage. Because you never get those test and dev copies back. They just expire and someone's consumed capacity. So AppSync we bundle with all our mid-range storage platforms. It's there, and I really encourage people to start looking at this in terms of what agility this brings. If we look at traditional stack, Oracle, SQL, Exchange, we also do DB2. We can also do it at a file system level where the application owner can start managing and creating their own copies. Now if we start moving more towards the actual storage component of this, I just want to highlight a few architectures when it comes to storage and how we differ and how the power of our portfolio really comes into play. So the first type of sort of architecture we call it tier 1 architecture. Dual controller, active passive. Now, if you're familiar in terms of MC storage platforms in history, we were doing this back in our carrier days. Right? Dual controllers, active passive, another one is REST. Where we believe you should start is with the dual active controller. We call this the type 2 architecture. Next one is still a dual active controller, but we've got the capability to federate them, to have up to 10 storage systems viewed as one. And we'll see a bit about this just now. And then the final is a type 4 architecture, which is a scale up, capability to start with a single control, a dual controller, and add more controllers as you require. Now, where we're going to focus today, primarily from the storage piece, is the type 2 and the type 3 architectures. Right? Now, these architectures, from a name, if you want to see what they are, starts talking to our number one industry-leading mid-range platforms, our Unity and our SC. I'm going to talk about these two. I'm going to start with the Unity. So Unity is we've got it in a hybrid offering or in an all-flash offering. But primarily, when we talk about differentiation between the two, Unity is a unified platform. When I say unified, then we've got block and file and support for vVols on a single platform. You don't need any NAS headers, you don't need gateways, you can do block and file on a single platform. We introduce inline efficiencies such as deduplication and compression to get the best bang out of your pipe in terms of efficiencies. And then the hybrid cloud integration, where we start leveraging things like cloud tiering to tier your data, right, your file data for one, to the cloud, whether it be virtual stream with your one USB subscription, whether it be Amazon or Microsoft, or an on-prem option such as ECS, which stands for Elastic Cloud Storage. And this can be, once again, delivered as a converged solution. It can be best of breed as bought by itself. We've even got it as a VSA, a virtual storage appliance, which is free to download, it's free to use. Right? So we've got flexible options within that Unity platform. I spoke about our all-inclusive software, where, as I say, everything that you would need to run this array is all-inclusive. Your replications, your snapshots, your AppSync, your data at rest encryption, cloud tiering, cloud IQ, which I'll speak about just now. I just want to talk a bit around the underlying sort of capabilities within Unity. What we introduced was called dynamic unified pools. The ability to have a pool of storage, and if you want to do block, file, vVols, you can do it. You can start with a minimum of 6 drives, right, as your starting point. And the great point comes in here is that you can do increments in 1 drive increments. Capability within that is you can mix and match drives if you want. So you can start with, for example, a 1.9 terabyte drive, and tomorrow take a single 15 terabyte drive upgrade. We've also introduced dynamic rebuilds, where we don't have a dedicated or spare anymore. We reserve space across the whole platform so that everything partakes in the rebuild, which leads to faster rebuilds. And then no separate spare management within that, so it makes it simpler to manage. So I said Unity is a block and file storage array, right? So we've got the capability to scale up to 256 terabytes on a single file system, and we can have multiple file systems. We can gain from efficiencies such as inline compression and dedu in terms of copies of the same files. We can shrink the file system on the fly if we want to reclaim space. We've got integration points in terms of VMware. We can have multi-tenant NAS servers, and we can tier our data to the cloud. So within that tiering, I spoke about it just now, we can have policy-driven tiering to say that if a data or a file hasn't been touched, modified, or accessed within a certain period, tier it off to another tier of storage that a cheaper form. It's transparent to the user, so the file's still there, it doesn't disappear. You've got the capability to have various options to recall the data back. I spoke about Cloud IQ. Once again, built-in software that gives you the capability to have insight into your storage array. Single pane of glass to manage it, and you can access it whether it be on your phone, a tablet, or laptop. As long as you've got internet connectivity, you can access it. It's cloud-based, so there's nothing to install. There's no VPN access required. And typically, if you want to see what's going on in your storage array, you've got to log into the console. There's none of this. And within this, we've got proactive analysis and support, which assists planning and optimization. But if we look at it in terms of what's behind the covers, so I said already we've got proactive monitoring. So we can see CPU utilization, storage pools, LUNs. Are you meeting your RPOs and your RTOs? Does the file system look like from a utilization perspective? From the analytics perspective, we can start looking at it and start doing sort of predictive analytics. You've got to run out of space soon, carry on down this path in terms of utilization. It can help in training in terms of your capacity planning. Right? You can see what your consumption is looking like. You can also do remediations based on what the system looks like. So you get a dashboard with green and red, and it gives you insights and recommendations in terms of how to actually start fixing whatever may be going on in the back. And this is not only on our Unity platform, but also on our SC series platform, right? So SC series, formerly known as Compellent, we have a high-level view of this. We still got inline efficiencies, well, let me rephrase that. We still got intelligent dedupe and compression, along with RAID auto-tiering. It's just that it's a post-process. You on Unity, it's an inline process. We spoke about that federated architecture, that type 3, the capability to have multiple arrays viewed as one, which gives us the capability to have zero workload downtime. And then the best of breed economics truly speaks to be able to having dedupe and compression and RAID auto-tiering, whether it be on spinning disk or all flash. Mentioned mid-range platform, all software is all-inclusive once again. Your snapshot, replication, data encryption, all built in. But I want to really talk about volume, live volume, auto failover, and live migrating volume advisor. What this feature brings us is, as I've said, number one, live migrate. We can do online migrations, so zero downtime with as least disruption as possible when it comes to doing those migrations from one platform to the next. Intelligent rebalancing, the capability to move that volume around, right, based on whatever may be going on to the system, whether it be capacity, whether it be the system under high utilization. Volume advisor will say, give you an alert to say, the system is highly utilized, do you want to move this volume to this system? You click yes, and the system does it in the background, seamlessly to the host and application. And then finally, live volume with auto failover, sorry about that, with automatic failover, the capability to have a stretched cluster across two sides, and in the event of a failure, to have automatic failover to your other side. Once again, seamless to the application with as little intervention as possible. And in wrapping up, I just want to highlight that we've got integrated offerings that complement our storage platforms. From an application perspective, we talk about AppSync and copy data management. We talk about PowerPath, capability to have smart path management. Our Connectrix suite, which is our brand of Brocade and Cisco switches that we OEM, that are SAN-based switches. VPlex, which gives us the capability to virtualize heterogeneous storage, so not just Dell EMC, and then once again an active stretch cluster across sites. To have insights into our environments once again. SRM, which stands for Storage Resource Manager, not Site Recovery Manager. Viper Controller, which does automation of storage provisioning, and Cloud IQ, we spoke about just now. Data protection appliance, capability to protect your data, whether it be the core, to edge, to cloud, and we'll see that a bit later from our data protection colleague. Checkpoint, the capability to back up directly from your storage array to a purpose-built backup device without traversing your traditional backup client server topology. And then cloud pools and cloud tiering, we saw that earlier on in terms of being able to push data to a cloud platform that you can leverage, wrapped in our world-class support. So that was very high level in terms of what's in our portfolio, the capabilities that we have in our portfolio, and the integration points around our portfolio. If you've got any questions, please feel free to chat to me. I'll be here for the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
So really, I think as we talked around Converge and hyper-converge, this is definitely the topic of the day. Everything we present today, initially the introduction. It's a new path, it's a new trend, it's around where everything is going. It's all around convergence and convergence. So, we'll talk a lot today around the hyper-converged product from the EMC extension, the VX services, the engineered solution goals, engineered the EMC and VMware. But just to quickly touch on the portfolio that we have available to us from the EMC perspective, we have the widest range of products when it comes to converged and hyper-converged solutions in the market. So, we'll talk a little bit around our blocks, racks, alliances, So I think, came back touch on the slide. And if you look at it, everything we are doing today is around digital transformation. It's really around modernizing the data center. That came across from Shari's presentation as well. It's really modernizing, automating, and transforming the way we do business today. Modernizing the infrastructure, really around all-flash scale-out, software-defined, cloud-enabled, AI and ML. Automation is really how we take the software that we have, the intelligence out of that, and let them be automated to deliver business value to the organization. And transformation, it's really around the people and the processes that we have in our organization. How do we change the way that we do things today to be more innovative and be more profitable to the business? So, just to talk about hyper-converged solutions that we have today in our portfolio, like I said, we've got the broadest range of hyper-converged solutions I will put here than anybody else in the market today. So, from a VMware perspective, we really talk about VHL. We say any customer that's running VMware, VHL is probably the best solution, the best fit for you. You automate the implementation, which is a bigger part of what we do implementation. It's around VHL, why VHL is so popular, and how we do the best of the solution we get in the market. So that's a VMware stack from a Microsoft type of view perspective, or from a Microsoft basic direct perspective. We have the Tennis platform. So the Tennis platform is now connected to the export. Then you get to see the software, and you get to that to run. We have that available to us, so it's a VHL, it's a Tennis algorithm. And then some customers are here for the world. They don't have the ability to run a lot of devices in their life. The solution for used to be called CLIO, the leading now to Flex. Nobody else there can do the market. Even from a Unix perspective, you're going to choose the advertising up front. That's the hypervisor that we're running the network system. But going to change it for it to see the solution. From a mixing level perspective, truly software defined storage solution perspective, nobody else has something on it that can do this. How to run off the hypervisor solution. And everything is built on the 4th generation servers, so you're getting everything that you spoke about, all the benefits, performance, the integration, scalability, the agility, and the flexibility of the 4th generation server, which is the bedrock of a modern data center, is what you're going to get out of our platform as well for the software space of the best hardware. So I'm not going to go too much into this, show what the platform, what the portfolio looks like. From a VMware perspective, customers running VMware, there are two options. It's a VHL or a VHLAN portfolio. VHLAN STDC, specifically for VMware environments, heterogeneous environments. We've got a VHLAN Flex option, the Tennis platform, and then the Converge block platform. So, prior to hyper-convergence or hyper-convergence is something becoming the new thing. We have only need to be able to also today still is one of our fastest growing products in our portfolio. So as much as hyperconvergence is now going to be buzzword, there still is a market for converged infrastructure in cloud architecture. Not everything is simplified convergence. And then from Microsoft Azure stack, they have a homogeneous environment as well. At the end of the day, it's all about delivering business value. Like I said, I just saying that TCO is not only a fraction of the game, but it's also about the business agility and the business value that these solutions can bring to you as a customer in your life. It's not just about only saving money. So, convergence and convergence infrastructure, really the fastest way to modernize infrastructure is modernize data center. That's really what really much spoke to everybody about. As we want to modernize, either going future architecture or convergence infrastructure or hyper-convergence infrastructure, we have the solutions in our portfolio, our customers. Start So, any questions on the portfolio we guys are getting before I really go into the deep dive into our piece and the market? Guys, we can give it to the right one. Is anyone going to stop me asking? So, we look at the complexity around what's happening in our data centers, applications, we must talk about it, traditional applications, next generation applications, cloud native applications, all this coming into complexity. Building efficiencies to be learning and agility. 71% of people agree that if they don't transform today, they will become obsolete. We've seen a lot of companies that have become obsolete. They haven't chosen some type of transformation that is active, what is to do in the environment, and are not existing today. Not competitive. So, HCI, it's already, customers are already modernizing with HCI. If you look at the trends, all the vendors out there are leading with the type of conversion construction solutions. More than 60% of our customers have already adapted and adopted HCI for some type of model, for some type of application. 75% of the products are actually in the data center. If you look at from an opportunity perspective, HCI market today is 1.5 billion, we expect it to be around $6 billion HCI has crossed the reliability threshold. So, there's been a lot of advancements in all the different measures in terms of the hyperconverged infrastructure where it starts to create. There's a lot of data services that have been added on, a lot of efficiency that have been added on, features, functionality, performance, and reliability. In fact, on how we deploy hyperconverged infrastructure in our data center has now created a reliable solution for the core data center. From a Dell EMC perspective, we're number one when it comes to servers, public and private cloud infrastructure, storage solutions. We've always been number one when we keep converged solutions, 3-tier type solutions. And now we'll have converged. We've taken the number one spot in that as well. So, we talked around the 14th generation server and what is the next to the table. From a VxRail perspective, I have converged side of things. We're looking at 150 different custom requirements with Dell EMC hyperconverged infrastructure generation technology. 3 times more TDIs per node in our generation platform. And obviously, number one, most configurable hyperconverged infrastructure with maximum flexibility. And I'll show you a little bit why we say that. So, when you look at hyperconverged solutions, you look at things like simple, easy to deploy, single management interface, easy to scale. So we look at 16 times lower installed and upgraded administration costs because it's just basically an infrastructure that's not doing technologies. 30% PC saving instead of building your own HCI. So not really doing the architecture, but building your own HCI. 42% in lower cost of services, also obviously around maintenance, upgrades, and where we see other advantages is acceleration and transformation, seamless integration, single end-to-end lifestyle. So I think that's one of the differentiators again from a DXL perspective. Because it's an engineered solution in Dell, EMC, and VMware, should anything go wrong, it's a single point of contact. Full down number, irrespective of whether it's a software issue or hardware issue. We find that we've been so effective with our converged solutions with this engineered type solution that 90% of the calls received was sold in a function at first point of contact. That's how effective this is. Fully loaded services, and like I say, it's highly configurable. We talk about highly configurable. Slide here. In terms of highly configurable, a lot of different client types, start in the this performance type, storage nodes. So we have a different range of nodes available for customers to scale as the business grows. So just to touch on this, building your own hyper-converged infrastructure. We look at it's 70% of your budget, 80% of the downtime. If you want to try to build your own hyper-converged infrastructure, we say don't build buy. Buy the extra, it's an engineered solution. What that brings, it gets faster, time to value, 200 times less risk for business, $35,000 free included software. So that's one of the things I have mentioned. And as Debra has also in his presentation, all-inclusive software. So we're giving you all-inclusive software on the VxRail solution. So things like replication, things like data protection from a data perspective, some cloud software is gone away, migration software, data sliders are covered as well. And obviously from a cost perspective, 40% lower than building your own solution. Just another slide of what focus generation resources. 2 times better response times, 2 times more IOPS, sustained sub-millisecond response times. So we talk about consistent performance, irrespective of how the individual customer may be getting more consistent performance on the excellent solution. It's more configurable, upgrades, 5 times more processing options. Like I said, the more fresh options available, and we will get flexibility. It's just very much reiterating, what each generation does. What each generation likes is the bedrock of the podcast. Giving brings a lot of features to our customers. Having that VxRail hyper-converged platform brings a lot of benefit to our customers. So to go a little bit deeper, in terms of what we see inside the VxRail, it's powered by VxRail software. I think really, as we said itself, they enhance the features and functionality. We get it in our systems as well. We said that included long insight in vSphere already. From a lifestyle management and support tools, the VxRail Manager and our SLI software, which I mentioned, remote dialogue functionality should something happen in the process, software between our own, it tells us the problem proactively, and we can then resolve it for you. Included data protection options, we talk about recovery for virtual machines, the ability to be able to replicate virtual machines from one side to another side, vSphere replication, and the data protection, which is the backbone of the solution. This is really what makes VxRail different from any of our competitors out there, any other hyper-converged solutions. It's an internal research that makes VxRail efficient. For anybody here who has deployed any hyper-converged solution, you will know that you lose around 40 to 45% of your storage resources, sometimes huge resources, memory resources, by deploying a hyper-converged solution. And that's because they use storage VMs to create a hyper-converged solution. Because this is an engineered solution, it's Dell EMC it's well software. The software that creates the virtualized infrastructure is actually built in the program. So we don't utilize, so we are a lot more efficient. What you buy from some government doesn't know what you get. So data parts are inefficient when you look at this. Management must be bolted around and then must be more storage. With VxRail, we're talking about 2 times CPU and memory efficiency. Storage efficiency, guaranteed to have more storage efficiency than some government. How they data remotion and disaster recovery services, simple single management team, and per VM management policies. So this is really what makes VxRail a lot of software that's included, this idea of increasing the server, it's a single pane of glass, very recent interface into a multi-cluster management, VxRail manager, installation and upgrade, VxRail market, or support, and vision software. On the right hand side here, you realize operations, deploy, the best management is all optional software, and we realize automation, automatic governance, governance and control, and self-service control. Hello? Okay. So this is the... Okay, so we talked about really the VxRail from a hardware perspective and from a software perspective. To look at what's included from a data protection perspective, we talked about continuous availability with the status recovery. I spoke about recovery point for virtual machines. Really any point in time recovery that we have with the solution. There's a starter pack included into the bundle. Should you require more virtual machines to be replicated, you can buy add-ons per virtual machine which you require. vSphere replication, single point in time recovery, and then obviously from a data protection perspective, we give you 8 terabytes of deduplicated backup and recovery, single step image recovery as well. Enhanced protection options, data protection for VMware, really going more into detail around regular backups and recovery, monitoring and real-time analytics, metadata, full content index search, and a data domain virtual edition option as well, where you can deploy a virtual instance of a data domain up to 96 terabytes outside of the VxRail. So services, we spoke about earlier, everything we do is bundled with some with services or professional services from Dell EMC. We talk about pro deploy services that we can bring into the market. Product integration, really we spoke about all this here. And then pro support, which we're hoping will be coming in the next 2 months into Mauritius. That's going to be a game changer for us as Dell EMC from a support perspective. Today, we've got third-party support options, but pro support is coming, and our customers are using Dell or move to Dell will really see the benefit of the pro support. If you look at from a momentum perspective, our journey with VxRail, we started off this about three years ago, I think it was, when we brought out the first VxRail appliance. And if you look at where we are today, really it's, we're number one now from a Gartner perspective, and even from a sales perspective, we are now leading that space as well. So we've really come a long way. Customers are trusting the platform. Like I say, there's a lot of efficiencies, benefits, data services, and those kind of things that we need to take into consideration when choosing a hyper-converged infrastructure solution. My advice is anybody on VMware, or everybody that's running VMware, the trusted platform should be VxRail, very much because it's an engineered solution and gives you a lot of benefit. So, that was a quick, very high-level introduction to the VMware solution, to the VxRail solution, the hyper-converged solution that we at Dell EMC have. We mentioned earlier that we do a lot of analysis and consulting with all our customers. We ask you to, before making a decision on whether you want to go hyper-converged, converged, or 3D architecture, allow us to come and run some free assessments with you in your data center. And it can be any one of these type of assessments. If you're looking at cloud modernization, VMware data collection, storage collection, whatever it is in your data center, we have the tools available to us to help you make the right decision as you move forward in modernizing your data center. Like I said, hyper-converged solutions is the new thing in the market. It's a great solution. It's purpose-built for certain applications, not for everything. Customers who have applications which are storage heavy or too compute heavy, you might want to look at going into the architecture of converged solutions over a hyper-converged solution. As there are benefits of that over hyper-converged. And then from the data protection side as well, if you're looking at backup of your entire data center, we can run an analysis of the environment and give you guys a backup solution that will meet your business requirements. This is just very much a summary of what I spoke about. Don't just buy and sell, transform your infrastructure, 14th generation, and VxRail. It's designed and engineered by Dell EMC and VMware. There's no other solution like this for VMware customers. And that's me. Thank you very, very much.